It's not hard. Start with the person in your office sitting next to you. Respect their things, their pencil, their pen. I'm very fussy with my pencils and pens. I never like anybody to touch my pencil. I know, I love pencils, so I know all my pencils on the table. But I'm selfish. But it's wrong. I'm wrong. I'm like every one of you. And Tan Sri said something just now. You know, this 3 people, that we always say so important in our lives, actually should be the least important in our lives, is me, myself, and I. Everything is us first. If you see the last piece of chicken, you want to grab first because you want that chicken. It's just not natural, but we never think. We never think that the other person might really want the chicken and didn't get a chance. It's these little things that we forget. But let us correct ourselves. Let us make sure that somebody else doesn't want it before we take it. And the other thing is care and understanding. Sometimes we come home so tired and the children wants to share with us something and we don't have time, and we shoo them away. Actually, we should just let go everything when we come home from work. Leave all the tiredness in the office or in the car. Open the door and come home and smile and be happy. And show the children that you're eager to listen to what they did in school. Don't tell them, tell me later, I'm tired. Go tell your mother, go tell your father. Because this is where you learn about them. You must care about them. You must care the songs that they're listening to and listen to it with them. And sing with them some of their songs. It's not hard. I know some of them are, very loud, but, believe me, some of them have good words inside. And understand them. Understand why they're moody. Understand them, if I listened to a program this morning while coming here, and there was a program also talking about how some children came home, very upset, don't want to talk about what happened to their first day in school, and second day in school it was worse, they didn't want to go to school. There must be something wrong with that child. Something must be happening. But the parents, somebody rang up and said this to the person on the radio, but what should have happened is the father should talk to the child or the mother. Talk why, what happened. Be a friend to that child. Talk in their language. Don't come back and use the university language but talk to them the language that they understand. Make them feel that you are the best friend. That's what they want. They will come back and tell you everything. I am blessed. I'm blessed. I had that opportunity with my children, my 2 girls, and I suppose that was the way I was brought up. So share with them. Let them come and listen to their stories. You also tell them some stories of your own when you were a child. They want to hear, because you know what? We were much naughtier than them. I was much naughtier than my 2 daughters. I had a lot of fun, climbing trees, falling down, doing all kinds of, almost burn a forest, things like that, which they never did. So they're quite good. But when they listen to your stories, they're so excited. They say, Mom, you had such a wonderful life. Your school life sounds so much fun. So they want to listen to these kind of stories. And you listen. Because to them it's a big deal. So you also make, feel as if, wow, what a wonderful story you brought today. So this is important. You care, you spend time with them, as well as our parents. Spend as much time, or actually as they grow older. Some of you, I know, in many families, I know, they don't use the word, I love you, because the parents never said that. They had a hard life, maybe they were not brought up that way. But you start, and you try. And if you just go and tap your father on the shoulder and say, no, Dad, I love you, thank you for everything, he might, but he will think, He will think, He will realize, he says, the child really, my son or daughter really appreciates what I did for them. It starts there. And the other one thing is patience. Patience and tolerance. We have to be patient with our children, our parents. We have to be patient with our colleagues. We have to be tolerant of the irritating person who keeps coughing or snorting or clearing his voice, we have to be patient. And just, bear in mind that one day when we are not well, we'll be doing the same things. But patience is really a good virtue to have. It's the queen of virtues, they say. It's count 10, count 20 to calm yourself down. Some people are born hot-tempered. So those who are not hot-tempered, try and understand he was born like that. We tolerate him and hope that one day he will be patient. Actually, patience does not mean that you are ignorant. Because sometimes someone is rude or rough and then you just keep quiet. It doesn't mean that you're a coward. It just means that you're tolerant and let him be his way. And tolerance of religion in today's world, it's getting from bad to worse. A small issue was always blown out of proportion, and we forget the tolerance. We forget that they were our neighbors, and we lived happily ever, for a long time, and we grew up with Achong or Sami and things. We've forgotten, and we become all agitated and irritated over small things. We respect, like I said earlier, all religions and all races, and we'll be able to tolerate their style, or whatever it is. Because, as I said, we all pray for one thing, we all pray for good. I hope no one prays for bad things, And therefore, when we do all these things, it'll calm us down. We begin to think. We begin to think of, if you say something. Sometimes some people, they love to sinde, Many people, they can't speak nicely. They must sinde. It's just their nature. So sometimes we can tolerate, but not every time. We want to answer back. But pinch yourself. When you answer back gently. Say, actually, what's wrong with you? Instead of answering back with another sarcasm. You just say, what's wrong with you? Why are you like this? Is there something that you want to talk about? Is something you want to share? Maybe you don't want to share. It says, calm down. We're all friends. You don't have to be so bad. You're not a bad person. No one is really very bad unless we like to exaggerate. When someone is bad, when we go back and we tell our spouse, we make it worse than it is. We always do that. Recently we were watching a movie, and then they had these trails. This was in Perth recently with Patla and I. We were watching this. And then they were showing the making of a film called Doubt, D-O-U-B-T. It's, it's a movie done maybe in the 30s, 20s. So it's about a church, and a priest is giving a sermon. And in this short sermon, he was talking about gossip. He said, gossip is a very bad thing. It's a big sin. We should never gossip. You don't realize what you're doing. So he said, don't do it. So after church and all that, this lady came to confession, and she went and said, Father, I have sinned. He says, yes, what is it? He says, I've gossiped. It's a small gossip, I didn't mean it, but I did gossip. Then he says, okay, you go home, you take your pillow. Those days, the pillows are all feathered pillows. So you take your pillow right up to the highest floor in your house, and you tear open the pillow. Stand in the balcony and tear open the pillow. And so the feathers flew all over. She did that. After the feathers all flew everywhere, she came back. And the next day, she went to the priest again. And she said, I've done what you've told me, Father. I've gone to the top floor, and I tore the pillow, and the feathers flew all over. He says, good. Now you go back and pick all those feathers. And she said, but how can I do that? It's flown all over. This is exactly. That's just like gossip. Once you spread one small thing, it flies so far, and you've destroyed someone's, someone, whoever it is.